Hey Paul, how are you? Are you cool? That's great. Yes? Boo. Welcome to another episode of the Mighty Code Coder. I'm Rob Fitzgerald, here to make you great and help you innovate. In this episode, we are going to pick up from our last lecture about VPCs. Remember, in the last video, we created a VPC in the AWS Console. So far, this VPC has a public and a private subnet. However, neither one has a security group, and neither one can access the internet. So we will do that here using SSH and the terminal. We will have to create another security group and then use a private key to gain access to it. A great example of when you would need something like this is a website that uses a backend database. You'd want to allow your website to be public, obviously, but you would want all your data protected and to be private. So let's set up that exact situation here, but let's draw it up first. Okay, so this was what we had last time. Not really. I think I put security groups in both subnets, but we don't have any security groups. One was created by default right here, and it wasn't assigned to a subnet, and that's what we'll do in this lecture, and that will help us get out to the internet. Okay, this is our public subnet, and it is going to have access. It doesn't have access. It didn't have access when I left you. We are going to add that access in this video. All right, so what we're really going to do, it's going to look something like this. We're going to go ahead and create a security group in here. And a security group in here. Okay, and we'll have, this one's going to be public, this one's going to be private. But in order to show how this works is, and this might become another AWS project for us, is that we're going to create our own website with its own database. So we have to create 2 EC2 instances, okay? All right, again, one being public because this would be like a web server. And what a web server does is serve up files to the public, which is great. But that web site or that web server might also serve up some data from a database, which would be down here and be protected. So that's what we're going to do. Then we're going to set this one out to the internet, make it public, and give it an HTTP gateway or route, or I forget the name of those tunnels. Anyway, and then we got to figure out how to get the private one out, because this might have your database on it. It needs to hit the internet too, because if we need updates for like our SQL or something, it should be able to hit the internet too, but we can't have the public be able to get in and get to that data. All right, so I think that is it. That is what we're going to try to pull off this time. And of course, this default security group, we will use this. All right, we are going to actually use this and put it into this one and show you how to do that. And we're going to make a new one, all right, in this one that's public, and we're going to call it Web DMZ, okay? DMZ stands for Demilitarized Zone, okay? So it allows something to be public, but yet private at the same time. I don't know. I'm not a networker. All right, let's go back over to the other site. All right, so we're back. All right, so what we have to do is we have to open the AWS console and go to the EC2 service. All right, and we're going to make 2 different EC2 instances, okay? So stay with me here. So I went ahead and set it up here so you don't have to watch me log in anymore. No more of that. Who wants to do that all the time? And let's click on EC2. And let's let Paul relax. Paul, can you just be cool for a second? Nice. That's the way to do it. Okay. All right. So there's the EC2. Let's go ahead and click into that. And let's go ahead and launch our first instance. And this is going to go in the first security, the public security group. Very interesting topic today. Very interesting stuff. All right. So if you're into networking and building web servers and stuff, this is it. All right. So we're going to select the Amazon Linux 2 AMI. And then we're going to get this free tier here. Okay. So I'm not spending any money here. All right, and you see that here I have to pick out the VPC, so it automatically defaults to the VPC that we set up, which is awesome. And then you can see that it is going to be US East 1A because that's our public one. And then we also want to look at it's going to make its own subnet settings enable. So remember that. Okay. All right. So let's go to the next and add storage, and the storage it recommends is fine. All right. And then let's add a tag. We'll name this, let's do a tag so you know what the name of it is. And remember, we're going to make this, we're going to call this, this is going to be called web, let's call web server 01. All right. And now this is the part, this is security group. Okay. So now, what do we want to do with security? Do we want to use a default? We want to make a new one. And of course, I told you that we're going to make a new one and we're going to make it public. So let's create a new security group. I'll zoom this in a little bit. Let's call it Web DMZ. Okay, let's make that description Web DMZ also. Okay, and then let's add a rule. Okay, or I guess let me up here. Let's add a rule. Click. Would it be cool if I just click it? All right, to it. And the rule is we're going to say let it out to the internet. All right, so it'll have HTTP access. So there it is. It's port. I was looking for tunnel or something. It's port 80. Okay, that's where all internet traffic is. All right, and that looks good. You see that's both IP version 4 and IP version 6. All right, that's how you get out. All right, and let's review and launch. Now, we review it, launch it, and it's going to make us make a new key pair. Okay, so this is a little private key pair, so it knows that we're logging in. All right, so let's go. Let's choose a new one. I'll create a new one, and let's call it my new KP. All right, and I'll hit download. Nice, it downloads, and it downloads it into my downloads folder. Okay, we will need that later. Remember, you save that somewhere. If this is going to be for a real website or something you're really going to use, you better save that, because if you lose it, you can't get it back. All right, and so let's go ahead and launch that instance. And we'll view instances. So far there you see, here it is, web server, it's just starting up. And you'll see that it actually has a public IP address already. See that? So it's very nice. All right, so let's make another one for the private. All right, so I'll launch instance and we'll go through the same thing. Amazon Linux 2. Let's do the general purpose free T2 micro. Now this one, look, it's our VPC, but this time we're going to pick 1B, which is the private subnet, and we are not going to allow it to have a public IP address. See that? It says disable. That's neat. All right, so that's how we make the subnets public and private. Really, really nice, right? Real easy. All right, and let's, I guess you're not seeing all this. I should bring this up away from Paul so you can see it. I'm hitting add storage next. Sorry if you missed that on the previous one. All right, and so this is storage. I just said, yeah, next tags. And then let's add a tag here, and we're going to call this one is going to be called, let's let's see, we should call it something like, I don't know, my DMZ, or no, my database or something like that. Okay, something that designates what it is. All right, so this is gonna be my DB server. Okay, so I got a web server and a DB server. All right, oops, I'm sorry, this is gonna be the name, and this is gonna be my DB server. Okay, all right, so there we go, and let's go ahead and go to the next. Now this is security group again, so this is important. Now remember I said we're gonna use that default one that we created, so select an existing group, and you could go down to your default. Let me zoom in so you guys can see this. So we're gonna actually use the default one on there, okay? And then we're gonna go review and launch, okay? And we're just gonna launch, okay? We're gonna use the same key pair that we used before, so existing, and we're gonna go to my new key pair, all right? Click that and launch it. So they both use the same key pair. All right, so we're almost home, okay? So you can see that starting up. We have a web server that has a public, okay? And we have a DB server that's starting up, all right? And I'm just gonna take this, you see this public address? I'm gonna actually use this, we're gonna go in the terminal and see if we can access both subnets, okay? So I'm gonna copy that. All right, and then I'm gonna go ahead and hit Command Space and type in TER for my terminal, open it up, and now I'm in my terminal, okay? So in my terminal, I wanna get to that download folder because that's where my KP is, okay? So we should CD over into that and into my downloads, all right? And then I'll have to give myself access and then get that new key pair. All right, so let's go CD downloads. I'll hit tab and I'll finish that statement for me. Okay, so now I'm in my downloads, and if I want, I could go actually ls and see if, but I know I don't clean my downloads out. There's so much stuff in there, but I know it's in there. And so I'm now going to go ahead and do a chmod so I can have more access. I feel like I didn't write that correctly. Let's see, is that fine? I think that's fine. I'm not used to what that came back up out of that usage file, whatever. All right, so I see. I got to get more access to that file. I did this wrong. So let's clear this. Okay, I gotta have access to that key, that new key pair. So I should go chmod 400 my new key pair.pem. There we go. Okay, so that gives you more access to it. Okay, so now we actually want to go ahead and SSH into it. So this is really nice. So I'll go SSH EC2 instance is what it is, and I'm the user. And remember that IP address, paste it in there, and I'll put -I, and then I'll use that key pair. Okay, so my new key pair.pem. Okay, so something like that, and I'm going to hit this. Perfect. It's asking if it's okay. Type in yes, and there we are. So we're actually now in that subnet that we wrote on the board. Okay, so that's public. Really cool. All right, and we could go in there and we could look around or see what it does or whatever. But if I wanted to, I could go ls. I guess there's not much in there. I could be a super user. I probably should make it a super user. So I'm going to go sudo su, and so I'm a super user. Clear it. Okay, and so I am effectively in that first subnet, and I feel like we should probably draw that up and show you what we just did. Okay, so let's try that. Okay, so now you can see that we set a security group and it's public and there's an EC2 instance, and we went ahead and SSH'd into that from our terminal. So we're actually in there, no problem. We used a PEM key or a key pair, private key to get in. So we're in, no problem. We saw that we gave it HTTP access so it can actually get on the internet. And I didn't show you that, but now we have to try to figure out how to do the same thing with this one. All right. But that's pretty much it for this video. And then the next video, we'll talk about the private one and try to connect. And then as we keep going, we're going to add files to the web server and try to get this whole website going. And then this could be a great AWS project for you. Okay, so that's it for this version. Let's. I'm going to switch back over and. All right, and I think does it for this episode. I hope that you enjoyed it. Remember, always trying to make you great and help you innovate. So until next time, what, Paul? Yeah, okay, right. Okay, yes. And if you have questions, you can leave comments below or go to the website at www.themightycodecoder.com or find me on Twitter at mightycodecoder. Thanks for watching.